Hey you guys, it's me Keisha and I am here with the brand new behind the scenes tea video. So we've all hopefully have watched this past week's episode of P-Valley. It was season 2 episode 5, which was an awesome episode. It was all about Miss Mississippi, aka Keyshawn, and her coming of age story. We got to see where she came from and how she ended up where she is right now. A lot of people resonated with this past week's episode. It was very emotional to see her past and how she ended up being a person who had issues with her skin complexion and with her hair, and how she was able to be drawn into such a abusive relationship, and how her naivete played in that, and how her father not being a present father for her also played into why she ended up in such a very violent situation and on her own. Well, Katori Hall tweets often on Sundays when the episode airs, and she had a lot of fun facts that she wanted to clue us, the audience, in on the episode. Shout out to the Instagram page, P-Valley Updates. I got majority of this information from their Instagram page. They are a major follower and supporter of my channel, so shout out to them. If you are into all P-Valley news, you want to know all the behind the scenes tea, footage, all of that good stuff, follow at P-Valley Updates on Instagram. Okay, so the first bit of information that Katori wanted us to know was that Uncle Clifford's first time meeting Keyshawn was supposed to be in this episode, but due to scheduling had to be cut out. She wrote, I felt that as the first godmother, she had to be present, hence the narration that was added after production to make it even more of a fairy tale. That really would have been awesome to see them meeting for the first time, her going to the Pynk for the first time, what led her to having to work at the Pynk, because you know, with Derek being so controlling and abusive, you would think that a man like him would want her to just be in the house, like nobody. Well, he's actually gotten that wish now with the pandemic. As you remember, when she said she couldn't wait to get back out there and start working, he was like, nah, you gonna be good enough just there in that room. He really wants to keep her contained in that house. So I'm wondering what happened back then for him to allow her to go and strip, especially since he's so controlling over her whereabouts, her body, and everything else, and he's so jealous and stuff. But I feel like with Derek, after watching tonight or last night's episode, was that I think that, I don't want to say he fetishizes her, but I think that it's a thing where he doesn't even look at her like she's a person for real. He doesn't see her. He doesn't care about her. He uses her for what he needs for himself. Like, it's okay for her to go strip because it's benefiting him. You know what I'm saying? It's okay for her to, you know, be pretty and all of that, because he, you know, wants to see her be pretty, but then again, he hates her prettiness because it probably reminds him of his mother, not in the sense of they look alike, but the fact that his mother was so pretty and dainty and never helped him as far as protecting him from his father, who was abusive towards him. It's obvious that he has racism in him, and at the end of the day, he looks at her just like another black bitch. But this black bitch was obviously okay enough to sleep with, but he never thought that he would have to end up with her. And he resents her also from what he said, quote unquote, trapping him and ruining his life. So it would have been, like I said, dope to see how it all happened with her ending up at the Pynk, but I feel like maybe that's something that we can see later on in this series, her and Clifford meeting for the first time. Next up, she wrote, I love the fact that Gidget and Keyshawn were homegirls when she first relocated to Chucalissa as a junior in high school. Sad fact, they were supposed to go to the Pynk together to see Gidget's mom, Deanna Jackson, perform, but due to scheduling, that scene had to be cut as well. So, ooh, that would have been so dope to see Gidget's mom back in the day dancing, because her mother is an addict and all of that stuff. And remember, Gidget made a reference to the fact that she tired of people, making fun of her for her hand-me-down clothes, her cheap clothes and stuff like that. And remember that Chucalissa High was a predominantly white school, and then they started, allowing more and more black kids basically to quote unquote like infiltrate. And, a lot of the white families did not like that. So I'm wondering, like, was it on some like upper echelon like private school type shit, or was it just a regular high school? You know what I'm saying? But obviously neither one of them, Gidget nor Keyshawn, fit in. Gidget didn't fit in because she didn't have money. She came from a poor background. Her mother was a stripper and a dancer. And then Keyshawn, because of her skin complexion, and also because she wasn't a confident person. Next up, she tweeted, "The football players calling Keyshawn a burnt chicken nugget is a blunt reality of the colorism darker skinned women deal with, from media images to comments made by family. Keyshawn has heard the words 'you're pretty' for a dark skinned girl more than she can count." Lord, 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 Lord. I cannot believe that people used to say that, still say that. Oh, like, you cute to be a dark skinned girl. You cute to be plus size, or you cute to be chubby, or like what? Like, oh my God, the way that black people have been desensitized and brainwashed into dark skin versus light skin. And it all came back from slave days and all of this stupid ass shit. And it's bad that we got to get it from others, but when it comes from your own people, it makes it even worse. And what was so sad about it is that the boy in the episode that had all of this to say about her skin color was just as chocolate as she was. So that it was coming from a place of feeling insecure about his own skin. So he took it out on her, which was crazy to see. Katori then wrote, "We often get the question, how was Derek able to handle Diamond? Well, cheerleading is a tough sport. Male bases often have to hold 125 plus pounds in the palm of one hand. We see Derek execute the double QP, which means he's pressing 250 plus pounds into the air. He's a guy with Samsonite strength and anger issues. Of course, he'd be able to rumble with Diamond." And I was wondering, like, how was he able to go against Diamond, somebody who had military training and all that stuff? And we didn't really know much about Derek's background in season 1. So I was wondering, was he military? Like, because he was handling Diamond. Like, he actually was whooping Diamond's ass. So it now makes sense with him having roid rage fucking an attitude, and plus him being very strong with weightlifting and stuff, that that's how he was able to handle Diamond. And also getting his ass kicked by his daddy. That wasn't his first fight. He probably always was beating up on other people because he was getting beat on at home. And that's what happens a lot of times with abusers or bullies. They take out on them what is being done to they take out on others what is being done to them at home. Next up, she said, "In fact, I wanted to show colorism's long reach. Alicia is the fairest of them all, while Veronica is called yellow-waisted by her own mother, a term for lighter-skinned folks with more negroid features. Even they struggle with the beauty standards imposed by colorism." I've never heard the term yellow-waisted, but now it makes sense. Like, you got all that yellow skin, that light complexion, just wasted because you got, a larger lips or bigger nose. Like, oh my God, that's so sad. But I'm actually happy that she highlighted that, because it is an issue that it's always focused on what darker skin black people or people of color go through, but nobody really ever discusses what fairer skinned people go through with being called soft or bougie or stuck up or high yellow or damn near white, and all the things that go along with them. Wow, Katori, that's deep. That's so deep. She also says, season 2, we have seen Derek exhibit complete and utter control over Keyshawn, from knowing the date of her period to clocking her movement via location tracking. But his possessiveness started as flirtation. Him buying her dress and knowing her shoe size might have seemed romantic, but her stepmother, Shanice, saw the warning signs. And like I said in my review, that she tried to warn her, but Keyshawn, wasn't listening to her. She was caught in the moment, in the romanticism of somebody acknowledging her and seeing her for the first time and feeling special and all of that type of stuff, that she ignored the signs of, how does this man know what size shoe I wear? How does he know what size dress I wear? How you just gonna show up at my house and announce and just think I'm gonna go to this dance with you, sir? Like, that's weirdo behavior. Hell, how you know where I stay? I know he dropped off at home once, but still, the confidence and the audacity that he felt comfortable enough to arrive at this girl's house with a full wardrobe. Okay, this is a bit weird, sir. You know what I'm saying? The signs were there. Then she gave us confirmation on what was going on with Alicia and Mississippi's father. She said P Valley doesn't shy away from uncomfortable conversations, i.e. abuse. Keyshawn's father, James, is getting handsy in ways we don't want to imagine. Sexual abuse within families is a very taboo subject, especially down south. Having Keyshawn clocking Alicia's discomfort was important. So that goes back to what I was saying to you all in my review is, I wonder, did the mother know that he was touching on her daughter? And that was why she was crying when Keyshawn came home from the dance and saying that, be careful, because they always find something shiny and new. Like, you're basically always replaceable. So I'm wondering, did that mama know that this man was over here touching on her daughter and shit and didn't say anything so she could continue on living the lifestyle that she had become accustomed to being with him? Because remember, she wasn't nothing but a flight attendant when she met him, so he was a come up for her. And there have been cases where mothers will look past their daughters being sexually abused to continue to stay with the man that they're with, to continue the lifestyle. So I'm wondering if that was the case and what is going on with Alicia's character now. I want to know more about that. What happened with that? I want to go more into Keyshawn's family to find out what's going on with them right now today. Is Shanice and James still together? Did Alicia ever confront him and her mom? What's going on with that whole situation? I need more context. And that's sad because, like she said, it was important that Keyshawn peeped it when she was taking the family photo, that she saw something ain't quite right here. So she was doomed from the start because Keyshawn didn't have any protection male wise. You know what I'm saying? And even from her own mama, because where was her mother? You know what I'm saying? Obviously, her parents either got divorced or whatever the case may be. And her mother was considered quote unquote ghetto trash. But obviously when she got, beaten by Derek, she didn't go to the mother's house. I wonder why. Was her mother deadbeat mama? What was going on with that situation? But it also made me question, with Keyshawn's father, who's to say he wouldn't have started to touch on her as well? The child was doomed from the start. Katori also clues us in on this bit of tea about, them delving into sexual and domestic violence. She tweeted a thread, "Domestic violence in P Valley. One of the greatest privileges in my life was working as a first responder in sexual assault and domestic abuse cases in the New York City hospitals. To stand with someone on one of the worst days of their lives is truly eye-opening. If a man hits my children, I'm going to leave." Keyshawn actually did try to leave in anger, and the end result was her being drugged through the house by her hair only to be threatened with an iron to her face. She probably thinks she's going to die if she leaves. Sadly, most of us don't know what we would do in this situation, especially if you are paralyzed by fear. Child abuse, along with intimate partner abuse, skyrocketed during the pandemic due to services being stopped or hindered. And that is very much true. I remember hearing about that domestic violence in the home skyrocketed during the pandemic because, there was no escape for anybody. You know what I'm saying? So it made the situations even worse. So like I said in my review, I still stand behind the fact that I do think that something is outside of even what we just witnessed in episode 5 is going to happen for her to finally be like, enough is enough, and end up trying to leave him for real. And I'm praying that it doesn't end in a result of her character getting killed off, because he actually does kill her, which would be very sad to watch, but that is a lot of women's reality that ends up happening, that their partner does end up unaliving them, which would be very sad, but it would be very poignant as a cautious tale to show that everybody doesn't get away. Everybody doesn't, aren't able to escape and start over and, rebuild their lives. A lot of women die or murdered or killed, behind these abusive, sick individuals. So as a storyteller, I would probably go with, unaliving her, just to really show that this is what happens if you get into these, really violent situations. This is what could happen to you. That'll be really messed up. I don't think they will kill Keyshawn's character off, especially because she's so beloved. But then the sick, twisted part of me as a writer would do it, even to bring more of a spotlight on domestic violence. You know what I'm saying? And it would be such a damn moment, like, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. So I might change my mind on the fact that Keyshawn is going to kill Derek by episode 9, or either in episode 9. I don't know. I might be going back on that. I think I might be going with she might get killed off. She might not survive. I don't know. I'm stuck between the two at this point. Katori also wrote, in P-Valley, Keyshawn's first time being abused by Derek shows him cutting off her air via strangulation while she is pregnant. It's to bring the victim to the edge of death and means that it is highly likely that the abuse will lead to that very end for the victim. In addition, it is actually quite common for men to abuse women in pregnancy due to the highly vulnerable position the woman is in. That is key when she said it's to bring the victim to the edge of death, and means that it is highly likely that the abuse will lead to that very end for the victim. So I wonder, is that a clue of her, going back to what I just said, of her character getting killed off, being murdered by Derek? Whew, that'll be something if they did. I would do it. If I was the writer. I would honestly do it if I was the writer. So Keyshawn's character might get killed off, y'all. Who knows? She also wrote, at P-Valley writers thought long and hard about showing the abuse of Keyshawn. We did not want to traffic in Black trauma, as we've always seen the aftermath of the abuse on Keyshawn's skin. But this moment was amped to put ourselves in Keyshawn's shoes, and the camera worked low mode. I think that was a genius thing to do, because we have always saw the aftermath of the effects of her being abused by Derek, but we have never truly seen or witnessed him abusing her, and the impact of him abusing her, and us, the audience, getting to see it really pulls you into why she stays, because she's afraid for her life, and how at this point she's become so conditioned to the beatings that it's like pretty much like it's almost like second nature to her, for her to say, please burn me anywhere else but not my face, because she knows that her face is her money maker and it'll be over for her if he does something for her face. Anywhere else she can cover it up, you know what I'm saying? And that's so sad, so sad, so sad. I hate it for her. She also wrote, the glass slipper is one of the most central symbols in the Cinderella tale. In P-Valley, we see it pop up twice. First, when Derek, having memorized her shoe size, brings her a dress and shoes for the mistletoe. Next is when Ron brings up the Pleasers platform deal. And I love the genius way that they use the platform teasers as to be a symbolism of Cinderella's glass slipper, especially when she was able to fight her way away from Rome and her foot slipped out of the pleaser platform. It was so symbolic of Cinderella. Katori writes, however, Keyshawn initially rejects the shoe, a harbinger of rejecting him. In their tussle, stepping out of the shoe saves her from being assaulted, allowing her to leave behind the illusion of the white knight Rome presented himself to be. And very much so, she thought that, Rome was a friend to her. He had promised her in episode 4 that no matter what, he has her back. He got her. He's going to help her get out of this situation with Derek. And lo and behold, he was a predator himself. I mean, we all saw it as the audience, but Keyshawn has been wanting to be saved so much in her life by some powerful male figure that she keeps on falling into the hands of all of these different types of predators. And like I said, if Keyshawn does survive, she's going to have to save herself in order for her to get out of this situation with Derek. Miss Katori then posed this question to the Twitterverse, and she asks, question, Framley, do we stand a Woody and Keyshawn collabo? Speak on it. Now, see, this was confusing because did she mean like a couple or like them working with each other? Like, I don't know which way she meant that. As far as them working with each other, I think that would be dope, to have him start to manage her because, he has her best interest at heart, and we see how down he is for her and loyal he is to her. Now, as far as them being in a relationship, I don't see them being in a relationship. I feel like they have developed more of a brother-sister type relationship. He's like a big brother that cares about her. I wouldn't want to see them in a relationship because we've already had the storyline of her and Diamond introduced to us, and that's who she's supposed to be with. They just got to find their way back to each other. She got to get out of that situation that she's in and get her life in order before she can go back to him and make their whole situation right. So I don't ship a Woody and Mississippi relationship. Working together, yeah, I don't really see them putting them together though as lovers. And then lastly, she tweeted, shout out to @Fashionalita, who took the vision of Cinderella Blue and made the most magnificent costumes, from floss that drips with shine to a prom dress. I did notice that this whole entire episode, Keyshawn's character was in the color blue to symbolize Cinderella, and I didn't get to voice that in my review of this past week's episode, but I love the symbolism of that whole entire situation. The episode was just overall magnificent. It was poignant. It was heartbreaking. You just want the most for Keyshawn's character. We all want to save her, but I feel like she's going to have to save herself in order for her to survive, period. In this in her abusive relationship, in this world, she got to get hip and stop allowing herself to be pulled into these predatory, abusive situations. And I want to see more from her family, like I said, moving forward. So I'm up in the air. A part of me feels like her character is going to come out of this alive and, kill Derek. And then the other part of me feels like it would be so poignant to see her character you know, be unalived, because that is the reality of a lot of women's situations. So it could go either way at this point. Let me know what you guys think about all this tea that Katori Hall, the showrunner creator of P-Valley, had to say on Twitter. Let's talk down below in the comments section. Make sure to thumbs up this video, like and subscribe, and hit that notification bell button, you guys. I love you so much, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.